Hey Commanders fans, get ready, because today we have exclusive news about our team, and you can't miss a single detail. So take advantage and subscribe to the channel, activate the bell to receive everything firsthand, and of course, leave a like to strengthen our support and show that there are only true fans here. Our commitment is to always bring you the latest updates, news, and everything that goes on behind the scenes at Commanders. So, without further ado, let's check out today's news. Why Commanders should be selective in potential trade pursuit of Miles Garrett. The Washington Commanders are currently among the favorites to sign star pass rusher Miles Garrett from the Cleveland Browns. That's how far this team has come in a short amount of time. After going 12-5 and reaching the NFC Championship game, the Commanders figure to be extremely aggressive this offseason in building a Super Bowl-caliber roster around franchise quarterback Jayden Daniels. However, they should be careful about what they're willing to give up. Garrett isn't the type of player who often becomes available in trade talks. He was the 2023 NFL Defensive Player of the Year and a four-time first-team All-Pro. He's also just 29 years old, with several seasons of peak production likely ahead of him, provided injuries don't become an issue. Suffice it to say, the value Cleveland will demand in return will certainly be high, and it could consist of more than just draft picks. That's where the Commanders and all other suitors should be careful. The Commanders can't afford to give up key players in the Miles Garrett trade. If Washington's goal is to add Garrett to its current core in the hopes of elevating those around him, then acquiring him shouldn't involve giving up other players who are helping the team now. Draft picks can be considered disposable. They're not proven commodities yet. The Los Angeles Rams built a Super Bowl-winning team by repeatedly mortgaging their future for players who could help them win in the present. In doing so, they've proven just how overvalued draft picks are. A pick may or may not pan out. By trading it for an established value player, you turn it into a much better chance of a positive return on investment. The Commanders should be well aware of the dangers that come with giving up players in these blockbuster deals. When Washington acquired Alex Smith from the Kansas City Chiefs in 2018, it released Kendall Fuller. The promising young cornerback became a key part of his first Super Bowl winning team in 2019 before eventually returning to DC as a free agent in 2020. The Smith trade ended up being a disaster for Washington, largely because of the veteran quarterback's devastating leg injury less than a season into his tenure with the franchise. It also failed because giving up Fuller made the team around the signal caller weaker. The Commanders shouldn't make the same mistake again. If Washington wants to acquire Garrett, it must find a way to do so without giving up any proven assets. The last thing the Commanders want to do is fill a roster need just to create new ones. Could the Commanders be in the running to land some major offensive line help in free agency? The Washington Commanders' 2024 season wasn't exactly what they expected outside of those inside the locker room. After going 12-5 during the regular season, they earned a playoff berth for the first time since 2020 before making a deep playoff run to the NFC Championship. Unfortunately, that's where things ended for the Commanders, and their attention has turned to improving in 2025-26, with real Super Bowl aspirations now seen as an achievable goal. While there was plenty to be happy about in terms of the team's performance, one area that gradually became something that would need to be addressed in the offseason was the trenches on both sides of the ball. The Commanders' defensive line struggled to stop the run and dealt with injuries throughout the season, preventing them from reaching their full potential. On offense, the Commanders felt strong with their efforts on the line, but as the year wore on, it became apparent that they would need to re-examine the unit as they struggled to help the run game and didn't give rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels time to throw in the pocket. The offensive line wasn't terrible by any means, however, with the loss of Sam Cosmi to a serious knee injury that will likely extend into the 2025 season. The Commanders will likely be looking to address that area. In fact, Marcus Mosher of the 33rd team believes that Washington could look to the best defensive tackle available in free agency, Ronnie Stanley of the Ravens, to help in that area. There are several starting tackles available in free agency, but most of them are either past their prime or have significant injury concerns. Ronnie Stanley is clearly the best tackle on the market, and the fact that he has started 34 games, including playoffs, over the past 2 seasons has allayed some of the injury concerns that plagued him early in his career, Mosher wrote. The injury history could force Stanley to accept a shorter deal, but he should still command a hefty payday in free agency. The Ravens would be smart to bring him back, but they may not have the salary cap space to do so. Expect a half dozen or more teams to be interested in Stanley once the free agent window opens. Stanley, a former first-round draft pick and 9-year NFL veteran, is one of the best in the game, but comes with some injury concerns. However, he proved those days may be behind him after putting together 2 solid 2023-24 seasons. Stanley will likely come with a hefty price tag, but fortunately for Washington, they have the cap space to be able to make a move like this. Bringing in Stanley would mean the Commanders could move second-year tackle Brandon Coleman to a guard position or keep him as a depth piece to help further his development at the professional level. Stanley's experience blocking for Lamar Jackson would allow for a near-seamless transition to Washington, as Jackson and Daniels have the same skill sets at the quarterback position. Commanders urged to sign $45 million All-Pro edge rusher. The Washington Commanders have found their name in the spotlight when it comes to the ongoing drama surrounding former NFL Defensive Player of the Year Miles Garrett's request to be traded to the Cleveland Browns, a high-stakes move that will cost any team that lands Garrett dearly. While Garrett may be worth the cost, it's a big risk. The Commanders could have to give up multiple first-round draft picks to get him, something any NFL team should be loath to give up. Not to mention the $45 million he's still owed over the next 2 seasons. A better alternative for the Commanders might be to find a free agent edge rusher who has proven himself to be dominant in the past, but needs to restart his career after his own drama. Enter 2-time NFL All-Pro Haason Reddick, who is coming off a tumultuous season with the New York Jets in 2024 and would be a perfect fit for the Commanders. Bleacher Report's Christopher Knox ranked Reddick at number 28 on his list of the NFL's top 50 free agents in the 2025 cycle. Haason Reddick's lone, forgettable season with the Jets did nothing to help his free agency stock in 2024. Knox wrote on February 17th. He waited for a new contract for nearly half the season and only made a marginal impact for the Jets upon his return. However, the 30-year-old has been a high-level producer before. Last season with the Philadelphia Eagles, Reddick racked up 11 sacks, 13 tackles for loss, and 35 quarterback pressures. He had 4 consecutive double-digit sack seasons before being traded to New York. Reddick had a nasty holdout with the Jets. When the Jets traded a 2026 third-round pick to the Eagles for Reddick in March 2024, they thought they were getting a player in the final season of his contract who could make a difference for a defense that seemed poised to become a playoff team. Reddick thought he was getting a new contract. Hence the drama. Reddick sat out minicamp and training camp and requested a trade in August. He missed the first 6 games of the regular season, incurring hefty fines before returning to the Jets for the final 10 games of the regular season. He had his worst year since 2019 with just 1.0 sack, as his team stumbled to a 5-12 record. It was a bad look for Reddick, who was set to make nearly $16 million in 2024, the final season of the 3-year, $45 million contract he signed with the Eagles in March 2022. Now, one of the NFL's best pass rushers in the last 5 years is looking for a new home, and he'll likely do it at a drastically reduced price. What Reddick could cost the Commanders as a free agent. The Commanders made a splash in 2024 by signing free agent Dante Fowler to a 1-year, $3.25 million contract and watched him record a team-high 11.0 sacks, his highest sack total since 12.0 sacks in 2019. Reddick, who had 50.5 sacks from 2020 to 2023, could even be seen as an upgrade over Fowler. Depending on how teams view Reddick at this point, which can't be good, the Commanders could start with a 1-year, $5 million contract offer tied to big incentives and go all the way up to $7.5 million if necessary.